Forget about the impossible. Plato once said, "When others think something is impossible, it is time for us to prove otherwise with conviction and perseverance." The story of Gaius Julius Caesar, an influential figure from classical Rome, teaches us about the importance of ignoring something that is considered impossible in achieving goals and influencing others. Julius Caesar was famous for his great ambitions and the ideal of expanding the Roman Empire to the ends of the world. However, many people around him were skeptical and doubted his plans. They regarded Julius Caesar's ambitions as impossible and too risky. However, Julius Caesar never heeded such doubts and skepticism. Once, while Caesar was in Gaul, he came face to face with the Rubicon River, the boundary of which was forbidden for Roman soldiers to cross without the permission of the Senate. This act of crossing the Rubicon was considered a declaration of war against the Roman Republic. Many people reminded Caesar of the consequences that might occur if he violated the limit, including the threat of execution for him and his troops. However, Caesar ignored the warning. With great determination, Julius Caesar said, "Alea Iacta est." The dice have been thrown. He crossed the Rubicon and took great risks to achieve his goal. This action not only shook Rome, but also marked the beginning of a protracted civil war. Despite the many challenges and obstacles faced, Julius Caesar never hesitated or gave up. He faced forces far larger and more experienced than his own, but he pressed forward with conviction and clever strategy. Julius Caesar courageously faced the impossible and showed others that perseverance and courage could overcome everything. It is important to remember that in achieving goals and influencing others, we must learn to ignore negative views or self-doubt. Let's not let things that others consider impossible stand in our way. Take risks and fight with determination. Like Julius Caesar, by ignoring the impossible, we can become influential and achieve great achievements. However, remember that ignoring the impossible does not mean that we have to be rash or reckless. It is always important to weigh the risks and prepare as well as possible. But when we are convinced that our goals are worth it and that it is possible to achieve them, do not let doubts or negative views stop our steps toward success. The story of Julius Caesar, an influential figure from classical Rome, teaches us about the importance of ignoring something that is considered impossible in achieving goals and influencing others. This action is an important step in achieving success and becoming an influential figure in the midst of existing challenges and obstacles. 1. Define our goals clearly. The first step to ignoring the impossible is to define your goals clearly and specifically. Know what we want to achieve, be it in a career, relationship, or any other field. Once a goal has been set, convince ourselves that it can be achieved even if it seems difficult. 2. Don't let doubt rule our minds. Doubt is the greatest enemy in achieving goals. When we face a big challenge or a goal that seems impossible, don't let doubt rule our minds. Shift our focus to potentials and possibilities, not to obstacles and possible failures. Remember that many things that others consider impossible have been achieved by persistent and committed individuals. 3. Do not be afraid to take risks. When we try to ignore the impossible, we must be ready to take risks. This means that we must dare to get out of our comfort zone and try new things. Success often comes from big, bold steps. If we always play it safe, we will never know how far we can reach our potential. 4. Have an unyielding mentality. Challenges and failures will inevitably arise in the journey to achieve the goal. However, it is important to keep an unyielding mentality. Don't let failure stop us. Take the lesson from each failure and use it as a foothold to move forward. When we are determined to keep going despite the obstacles, we will get closer to success. 5. Stay focused on our vision. It is important to stay focused on our vision, even if others doubt or consider it impossible. Don't be influenced by other people's negative or pessimistic opinions. Work diligently and believe in ourselves. When we stay focused on our vision, we will attract others who share our beliefs and passion. 6. Learn from the success of others. Look for inspiration from people who have achieved things that many considered impossible. Learn their stories, how they faced obstacles, and what drove them to keep going. Learning from the success of others can provide insight and encouragement for ourselves. 7. Do the best we can. Ignoring the impossible does not mean looking for shortcuts or ignoring effort. Do the best we can and work hard to achieve our goals. Remember that the journey to full success with hard work and dedication. In ignoring the impossible, we discover our true potential and overcome our limitations. Nothing is really impossible if we have strong faith and determination. Be like Julius Caesar, who courageously and persistently pursued his goals despite great challenges. When we ignore the impossible, we become influential and inspiring to others.